It's a final week. Politicians are putting final touches to preparations, and Nigerians are anticipating the decision day. We take a closer look at the issues tonight as the 2023 verdict on China's television begins right now. And your top stories, it is the final lap in the preparations towards the election of Saturday's. Nigerians prepare to go to the polls, with some of the frontline candidates now having a closer attention from the voters. And all eyes are on Nigeria as former South African President Thabo Mbeki arrives with his team to observe the Saturday polls. And election day comes closer. We're keeping our tabs on it. Endorsements and counter-endorsements rend the air in a final push for votes. Hello everyone, welcome. This is 2023 Verdict live on China's television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Our countdown continues. It's now 4 days, 12 hours to the election, and we're all anticipating the moment when Nigerians will be able to vote. Look at the clock. It's counting down. And every day as we move closer to the election day, this time keeps changing, and it will do that until the very last minute. 4 days, 12 hours, 57 minutes, 13 seconds, 12 seconds. Are you counting down with me? Wherever you may be, ask yourself this very critical question. Do you have your PVC? Are you ready to vote? I understand that some Nigerians are, in fact, have arrived in the country ahead of Saturday polls. This is decision time, and Nigerians have the opportunity to exercise their franchise. Thank you indeed, everyone, for joining in for yet another program that will give you the opportunity, the front seat opportunity and benefit to get all the information that you need to know right here. Before we get to dissect all the issues tonight, let's now check what is happening across the country on your election news updates. Well, that will come just in a moment. The program is interactive, don't forget, and we want to get your views and all the topics we have for discussion. Don't forget, tweet to us on these handles showing on your screen using the hashtag 2023 Verdict, or send an email if that is a better way for you to communicate with us. It's 2023 Verdict at channelstv.com. Well, tonight is going to be a lot interesting conversation. Don't forget, it's the last week of towards the election, and we've been counting months and weeks, and now we're just a few days away. Saturday is just around the corner, and politicians and political parties are already doing their final calculations. Some of them are holding their final rallies across the different states of the Federation. So we're keeping our eyes on some of the issues that will play a major role in this election. Let's check some of the temperature of things right now in the state of the race, some of the stories that will shape the manner in which this election is going. This is the state of the race. We'll tell you that a former president of South Africa and chairman of the Commonwealth Election Observer Mission, His Excellency Thabo Mbeki, is leading a team of observers to Nigeria ahead of the Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections. The Commonwealth team describes the forthcoming election as critical because of the country's strategic position in the Commonwealth. The leader of the delegation has urged all election stakeholders to ensure that the polls are free and fair and peaceful. The former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, is leading this delegation of the Commonwealth Election Observer Group to a meeting with the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, on the meeting held earlier today in Abuja. Well, tonight, a lot is being happening from the situation with the APC and their plea and urging the president, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the Central Bank Governor that he should reconsider their decision over the Naira redesign policy. They had a meeting with the NWC, the governors, and in fact, at some point, we understand that the presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Tinubu, was part of that meeting. And at the end of the meeting, the national chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullah Adamu, came out to say they're urging the AGF and the president and the central bank governor to listen to or to go by the Supreme Court order, which says that all of the policies should hold on until the substantive case is being heard. We get into that sector because tonight we speak with leaders of the different political parties. Tonight we have one of the leaders of the APC, a two-time former governor of the APC, will be speaking to us on the program tonight. But before we get into all of that, let's check around the country for some of your election news updates.
The African Democratic Congress has endorsed the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, and his running mate, Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed, as its preferred candidate for the 2023 presidential election. The chairman of the Board of Trustees of the party, Mr. Mani Ibra, announced the endorsement in Abuja while addressing party supporters. The governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Abia State, Mr. Ikechi Emenike, has promised to tackle insecurity in the state and create room for more developmental projects if elected governor of the state. Mr. Emenike disclosed this at the Umunuechi area of the state, where he urged the people to vote massively for the APC. Also, the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate in Niger State, Mr. Mohammed Bago, has promised to ensure the security and infrastructural development of the state to boost the economy of the state if elected governor. Mr. Bago, who gave the assurance while unveiling his manifesto in Minna, the state capital, promised to rebrand the state and make it one of the most developed states in the country. The governorship candidate of the ADC in Ogun State, Mr. Olubi Otegbeye, has appealed to the electorate in Abeokuta South Federal Constituency to vote the candidate of the Allied People's Movement, Mr. Miki Kazim, in this Saturday's National Assembly elections. Mr. Otegbeye stated this during his campaign tour to Abeokuta South local government area of the state. The governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Sokoto State, Mr. Aminu Umar, has denied the claim by a former governorship candidate of the party in Kano State, Bashir Bashir, that the party structures in the Northwest have abandoned the Obi-Dati presidential bid and joined that of the All Progressives Congress, APC, as false. Addressing journalists at the party's state secretariat, Mr. Umar says Mr. Bashir should speak for himself alone, as the Labour Party in Sokoto and other Northwest states are solidly behind the presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. Some members of the Cross River Central Senatorial Districts have declared support for the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Cross River State, Senator Basi Otu, at an event which was attended by traditional rulers and the governor of the state, Senator Ben Ayade, where he received defectors from the opposition People's Democratic Party to the APC. The governor urged the people to vote for the APC for all elective positions. And the national women leader of the Labour Party, Mrs. Sududu Manuga, says Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections will be decisive, as she urges women across the country to mobilize, vote and defend their votes. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, the Labour Party women's leader noted that the party's presidential candidate has special provisions for women if elected to office. The youth wing of Labour Party are urging youths across the country to avoid violence and ensure free and fair elections in Saturday's presidential and National Assembly polls. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the acting national youth leader of the party, Mr. Kennedy Ahanotu, appealed to youth to choose their leaders wisely for the sake of the future of Nigeria. The youth wing of the Apex Igbo Social Cultural Group, Ohaneze Ndibo, has lauded the recent judgment by a high court in Abakaliki over the disbandment of Ibubago on Tuesday, 14 February 2023. Addressing the press conference in Owerri's Imo State capital, the youth group called on the office of the NSA, DSS and the IGP to, as a matter of urgency, understand that Ibubago in Ebonyi State is merely serving the interest of political leaders in the state.
Thank you so much indeed, everyone, for staying with us. There's a lot of people who've been sending me some online stuff that people are pushing around. Just wanted to say that this kind of endorsement never come from me, and none of those kind of things has been said on this program or any other platform as such from me. So just to pull the record straight, the fake news that we need to also be aware of as we go into this election. A lot of things will be said which you need to verify. This kind of rubbish doesn't come from me. Thank you so much. Let's get to it, everyone. Let's get talking with our first guest on the program. He's the Chief Whip of the Senate and a former governor of Abia State, Senator Kalu. He joins us from Igwere in Abia State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight. Let's begin the conversation. It's a final week, a few days before the election, and one is wondering how this will shape up. Where does this leave your party, especially your candidate? There was an emergency meeting of your governors and the NWC. If you hear what your opposition, your opponents are saying, it does look from their own reading that your party is in a panic mode.
Thank you, Sean, for having me. We are not in any panic mood. We are on track. It's always like this. We have a very strong opposition party, the PDP, and we will overcome. We are ready for the election. Tinubu remains the best candidate for the presidency in 2023. So whatever they are saying doesn't perturb us. We are just watching because we are a very calculative party. There's unity in the party. We are not perturbed about what anybody says. We are on track to continue to do the next 16 years of presidency.
So let me ask you, with that meeting yesterday and the ongoings in your political party, for example, the question is that there are policy from your party and those who have opposed the same policy from your party. Is it a situation of a house divided against itself?
No. But Sean, you know me better. I can always say the truth. And the truth is that if I am president of Nigeria, I will obey the Supreme Court. Because the Supreme Court, if I am in position of the president today, the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land, whether they are wrong or they are right. And after listening to the Supreme Court and obeying them, I will ask my Attorney General to go for review. And when I was governor, I've told you this story before, Oboya Road is still at the same situation in Aba. I'm talking to you from Ibere in Abia State. The Oboya Road, I had a court that stopped me not to build the underground water to the water side. And the court is the Oboya Road from Ariaria to Koleta Port Harcourt Road into Oboya Road. It's still the same way. I obeyed the court order, and my subsequent people didn't touch that project. And the people suffering are the masses. So if I'm a president of Nigeria, I will rather obey the court of competent jurisdiction. And the court of competent jurisdiction is the final court of the land. I've always said it. If we are dissorted with a magistrate court, we go to a high court. If we are dissorted with a high court, we go to court of appeal. If we are dissorted with the court of appeal, we go to Supreme Court. And I expected that whoever that has advised the president of Nigeria, who had done so much for the Southeast, for him to obey the Supreme Court. If I'm in that position, Sean, I will obey the Supreme Court because it's the court of the land.
It does look like the president got an advice, and maybe it was a legal advice or whatever kind of advice that he got. He made a decision on a particular intention, and he stated that intention. Now the question is, that does not sit down well with leaders of your party and the governors of your party, and they have spoken openly. In fact, some of the governors had asked that the citizens in their state should disobey those directives coming from the president. So that's why I asked the question earlier, that is it that your party is unable to harmonize, to sit down on one table? Is there some kind of disunity? Since you said that you're going to say the truth tonight on the program, what is going on in your party?
There is nothing going on in our party. The unity of our party is intact. We're only talking about the partial obeying of Supreme Court judgment. There's no problem in our party. These governors are in bed with the president, and the president have done so well for the country, and the only way we're having internal wrangle is obeying the Supreme Court judgment. For me, the judiciary is final. I'm a member. I have served in the executive before, and I'm serving in the legislature now, and I can never serve in the judiciary. For me, the judiciary is the finality of the law, and if I'm in the position of the president, I will obey the Supreme Court judgment.
Now, we're going into this election, and with all of this policy, do you imagine, or do you also hold the belief that this could have, the policy could have an impact on the chances of your candidate?
No, because Tinubu is Tinubu, and whoever made the policy is what is, and there's no policy about anything because the Supreme Court have already ruled. And for us, me, the national chairman of the party, who was also my colleague as governor, we are on the same page. We believe that if I'm in the position of the president, I will obey the Supreme Court law. So we have no wangling. We are larger in number, we are bigger in atmosphere, and we are going to win the election. Tinubu is the next president and commander-in-chief of Nigeria.
What gives you this confidence, Senator Kalu?
What gives me the confidence about the membership of our party? We have huge followers. We also have huge support from Nigerian people. So this is what gives me the confidence. I'm a politician. And when I speak to you, I speak to you as a very successful businessman, as a man who employs over 13,000 Nigerians in my payroll, and I speak to you not as a man that is frivolous. I'm talking to you as a man who is an employer of labor. These people will vote. These people have done very well in Lagos State. He was my colleague as governor. And you can see the atmosphere, what he put up in Lagos State. So I believe that the APC on the 25th, 27th, after those counting of the vote, Tinubu will be the next president and commander-in-chief of armed forces. That is what we expect to see.
Before the primaries, you did not support Bola Tinubu. And so a lot of people in your party who supported other persons other than Bola Tinubu. And for those in your party who think that some of the issues that are in the fall or that are coming up they are post-primary issues. Those who are aggrieved that their candidates did not get a ticket. Do you imagine or do you suspect that that could be the situation?
Well, let me tell you, I supported my roommate in the university, Senator Ahmed Lawal, the Senate President, His Excellency the Senate President, and I have no regret of doing that. I'm a party man. And once Tinubu appeared as the presidential candidate, the next 3 days he visited me and we discussed. And Ahmed Lawal, Senator Ahmed Lawal group are supporting Tinubu fully. You can see Ahmed Lawal in every rally Senator Ahmed Tinubu have gone to. We decided in that group that we must support Governor Ahmed Tinubu because he is the candidate of the party. We are party people. We are not frivolous. We support our party, and our party is supreme. Once the party is supreme, the chairman of the party, Senator Adamu Abdullahi, spoke to us after the primaries. Anybody who is not supporting Tinubu is not a good player. Must you not play football the next day because your team loses?
Who are these people that are not supporting Tinubu in your party?
I don't know. It's you that said that. I don't know, but I know that all of us are supporting him. I'm supporting him. After the nomination of Tinubu, the next 4 days, I visited him. The next 1 week, I visited with Tinubu to my mother, and I visited most other people, party leaders with Tinubu, and reassure him. And Senator Ahmed Lawan, Tinubu visited Senator Ahmed Lawan, and we all agree that is our presidential candidate. That is the issue. We are not frivolous, and we are not going to succumb to blackmail. All I know, I'm a party man. Tinubu is the presidential candidate of APC, and I support the party to my life.
I want us to wrap up on this very particular point so that we can move to other issues. There are those who believe that there are elements in your party who are working against the chances of your presidential candidate Bola Tinubu. Who are these elements? And
it's you that would. You are the journalist, Chow.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking the question. I am the journalist.
I don't know.
You are the politician. You are a chieftain of your party. You are a leader in your party. You just mentioned, just a moment, sir. You have mentioned that for those who do not support Bola Tinubu, they are not good party people. And I'm wondering who these people are.
No, information. You told me that some people who are not supporting. I said, whoever at this stage who is not supporting our presidential candidate. The party is not about Tinubu. The party is not owned by Tinubu. The party is our party. And we ought to support him. We owe him a duty. I could have been the presidential candidate. Abelawa could have been the presidential candidate. Abechi could have been the presidential candidate. Our duty, or the vice president, could have been the presidential candidate. God in his mercies are giving it to Tinubu, and we cannot question the decision of God. And that is why we are supporting him. So
let me ask you this. You've been on the political scene for a long time. Since you are way younger than this as a governor. You are one of the youngest governors in the early 2000s. So you would be able to reckon with these inference that I'm making. There is a politician who is of the belief that since about the Second Republic or even the First Republic, there hasn't been any time in our political history that two southern candidates will emerge and win the election. That is always very difficult when you have more than two southern candidates against a strong northern candidate and they are successful, that there is always a problem. What do you see with this pattern or this trend?
No, I see nothing because they know Buhari is from the north, and the question of our party is that the president should rotate between the north and the south. And they know that the whole northern governors from our party, the whole people in our party are supporting Tinubu. And this is why that even when we said that Ahmed Lawan should be the candidate, and the governors derail it to make Tinubu the candidate. And we accepted that, and that's the best thing to go. We support our party because our policy of party on rotation, north and south. It will be very unfortunate if anybody think that we will rotate north to north. It's not going to be possible. You are talking about Nigeria. This is not a small republic. This is a republic that have 200 million people. This is a republic that have the easterners and the westerners in cooperation of the northerners. So it's not unthinkable. You are not even telling me what can be in my brain, because all the northern governors of our party, all the senior members of our party, including the president himself, agree that the power should shift to the south.
So if you look at what is happening in the country today, since you are in your hometown of Igbere, you perhaps will have seen and met with people, average people, who have joined those who complain on the issue of the Naira note and the scarcity. There was some kind of scarcity of petrol also in many parts of the country. And this kind of agitation has gotten to a head where you see people burning banks, attacking ATM machines, and going on rampage, going on the street in protest, there is anger in the minds and on the lips of so many Nigerians. And we're going into the polls. And under the APC government, what impact do you think this could be on the perception of your political party that is a party that is in power?
It's very unfortunate what is happening, and it's not the fault of every party people. I'm suffering the same fate. Here in Ibere, people cannot find money. Do you know, when I go out in campaign, I used to dance the drummers about 50,000, 100,000. Now I cannot dance them 1,000 naira, but I don't have it. So it is a process that if the central bank and the federal government have taken into consideration, this is not the best time to have done it. Remember, I sat in the Senate and I opposed that this should be extended to 31st of April, after my birthday on 21st of April. So to me, you can see it's a policy, it's a good thing. The policy is right, but I don't keep money in my house. I'm suffering. The other day, my house manager told my wife in Abuja that we have no money to cook food. My wife was virtually rolling around where we feed over 250 people in this camp every day. So I don't know, it's a problem to me, and it's a problem to everybody. So this is why that if I'm in position of Mr. President, as I've told you before, I will listen to the Supreme Court judgment. The Supreme Court, to me, whether they are right or wrong, Mr. President should obey the law and ask his Attorney General to put a review to the Supreme Court.
Your Excellency, you did not quite answer my question, and I'm saying you said you are suffering a similar thing that some Nigerians are suffering in the event of the scarcity of the Naira notes. And I'm saying that going into an election and your party is on the ballot, what impact could that have? Or what would you be telling Nigerians that will be making a choice on which party to vote for, and your party that is in power is made this policy that you say that you have also suffered from?
Well, President Buhari is not running for re-election. There are two differences between President Muhammad Buhari and incoming President and Commander-in-Chief Ahmed Bola Tinubu. So I'm telling Nigerians to be patient. If the policy is not going very well with Nigerians, President Tinubu, when elected, will be able to look at it. But I think that most of what is happening now has happened, and Nigerians should be just patient for the next few days.
We're due for a break, but more questions for you after the break. But before we go, quickly, let me get your view. You told us that it does make sense for power to rotate to the south, but you told us that you supported Ahmed Lawan. If you believe in power rotation, why did you then support Ahmed Lawan?
Well, I supported Ahmed Lawan because then I thought that the North and the South have agreed to power to go to South, Northwest, Northeast. But it's a thing of the past, but the party have made their decision. I have no regret of what the party have done. The party is supreme, and the supremacy of the party is what kept me as a chief whip. The supremacy of the party is what gave me back my ticket as a senator. So the party is supreme. You don't need to question me, because my party have made a decision, and I'm an obedient party man. If I'm very obedient to my party, and the supremacy of the party comes on.
I'm only asking you because you have defended the power rotation to the south, and you seem to be speaking about some level of equity.
Yeah, majority. No,
so yeah, since you're talking about equity, and that's why I'm asking you.
Listen,
if you believe in the power to the south, why then did you support the northern candidate?
No, because first of all, I supported him. He was my roommate and is my Senate president and is my friend. I have no regret in supporting him. But let me tell you, but the party is supreme. The party have democratically elected Ahmed Tinubu to be the presidential candidate. And this has been my friend. He has been my friend for more than 3 decades. So I have no regret. I told you before, Shawu, on this program, that my children lives, 2 of my children, Naira and Zina, lives with Oluremi Tinubu in Marina House for over 3 years, where they are going to school in the French International School. When I relocated with my wife to Abia State to be governor, nobody was in our delicate home. These children with their nanny back to live in Marina government house. So I don't hold any grudges against Tinubu. I don't talk about Tinubu. I have no grudges. I promised Tinubu I would never run for president. And I did not run. That does not mean I cannot support. And now he got the ticket. I am the biggest supporter here in Abia State and in entire Nigeria. So for me, it's about destiny. It's his destiny to go now. It's his own Emileko. And in Emileko, one day it will be a Shetima's Emileko. It might be another person's Emileko or me Emileko. So don't question me. I'm a party man and I support the decision of my party. I have no problem with the decision of my party.
Right. It's a difficult thing that you're asking me not to do. I'm being trained to ask the questions. No. I'm just saying that when you say I should not question, that is what I do for a living. But we are due for a break, Senator.
I'm asking you to what I do for a living. I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a politician. So I don't know how to lie. And I've told you the best truth.
All right. We'll take a break, and when we come back, more questions for you. Does your candidate stand a chance with what we've seen in the past days, and comparing some of the polls that have emerged? Where does this leave Bola Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the APC? Our conversation with Senator Kalu continues after this break. Join us again, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Senator Kalu, former governor of Abia State and Senate Chief Whip, has been speaking with us from his hometown in Igbere in Abia State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for talking to us tonight. Let's get back to the conversation. And the question I'd like to ask you is this. You have an Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, you have a Peter Obi of the Labour Party, and Robbie Musa Kwankunso of the NNPP. We're getting closer to the election. There are other, 17 candidates aside your candidate, and I've mentioned 3 other people that have been identified as frontline along Bola Tinubu, your party candidate. And those who believe within these political parties I mentioned that, in fact, the chances of your party APC is less now that Buhari is not on the ballot, and that most of the state that your party controls will be lost to the opposition. But you have been so confident on the program tonight that Bola Tinubu will win. Empirically and scientifically, what can you tell us to back up your confidence tonight?
Well, it's very simple, Shaw. Scientifically, we are more in number. Demographically, we're also more in the demographic of the country where APC belongs to. And it's not a matter of polls. These polls don't work here because some of these polls are biased. And Tinubu is a front runner. Tinubu is well liked by the North and is from the Southwest, and is going to get a meaningful vote in Imo, Ebonyi, Abia, Anambra, and Enugu, and is going to be having the support of Governor Wike of Rivers State. So we're on track, and my governor here, Okezi Ikpeazu, will also support Tinubu. So my senatorial district is going to give Tinubu the vote, the puncher, to give the 34-35% to be on ballot.
No, these are probably conjectures. So let's take it.
No. You are trying to say I'm a native doctor. I'm not one. Please.
I never said that.
I'm a committed Christian of Catholic faith.
No, I said conjecture. I never said
no,
that.
No, conjecture means I'm conjuncting something.
I didn't say you are conjuring. I said conjectures. So the point I'm making is that I wanted you to be able to tell us, because you are a politician, and you should be able to, for example, you're on the ballot for the senatorial election in your state. You should be able to tell us, for example, this is the number of states Bola Tinubu will win, and why? And this is the question that I'm asking.
No, I can tell
why
you the number of states right away.
Why do you think the people in the Southeast, for example, would vote for Bola Tinubu?
No, Tinubu will be winning because they know that Tinubu's presidents will also help us to have a stepping stone to have a free market. So people of Southeast will vote for Tinubu. Don't be perturbed about what is happening here, where let everybody vote according to his conscience. Tinubu is a very good administrator. He can delegate the job. He can also, he lives in the headquarters of the entrepreneurs where I live in Lagos. So all of us, all the presidential candidates live in Lagos. So we all live there, we are businessmen there, and Tinubu lived at the middle of the entrepreneurs of Nigeria. So he's going to have a partnership between the private sector and the government, which is very much not seen today. So Tinubu will be a man of tomorrow, like he was in Lagos, like he did some good things for planning, and G5 governors are also going to be a very big factor. And mind you, the 21 or 22 governors of APC are ready to support Tinubu. They brought him in the convention. You know, there was a ballot. Tinubu didn't come from back of the yard to be the presidential candidate of APC. Yeah. He came by through ballot by the delegates of APC. So he's the candidate of APC. Will be supported by APC people to show that he's truly the candidate of APC. He was not nominated by anybody. He was not said by anybody. He was democratically elected by our convention. So the majority of party delegates voted for Tinubu.
So let me ask you, perhaps a good way to wrap this up is that there are those who believe that this election will bring with it a lot of shocker. There will be surprises. And there will be a lot of young people that will vote this time around. What if this election does not go in the way of your party? What would that look like, and what will be the implication?
We will accept it as democracy, but I want to assure you, Shawu, our party is very firm on the ground, and our party will win the election. Tinubu is the next president and commander-in-chief. I can bet you with... I don't like to bet. I've never done pulling bet or anything. But Chomu, hold me by my words. I'll come back to this program in the next 1 or 2 weeks to tell you that I told you Tinubu will win on the first ballot. And I'm happy that EU have sent a very credible man who will speak the truth, President Thabo Mbeki, who will be able to tell people the way the election is.
Senator Kalu is the Senate Chief Whip and a former governor of Abia State. Thank you so much indeed. We'll get back to you after the election. If your permutation, you are also running for election in your senatorial district. I wish that the best man win in that election. All the best. Thank you so much.
There's no best man than me, Shaw. I'm the best man, and I'm winning the election.
The people in your senatorial district will decide that.
No, there are no two candidates here, Shaw. There are only one candidate here, and it's me.
Yeah, I understand that your brother too is running to be governor in your state. It does look to me that a lot of Kalus want to be governor in Abia State. But I mean, these are interesting period. Thank you so much indeed.
Well, if my brother is the best candidate for his party, I don't know, but if Abia people trust my brother, they vote for him or vote for my party. I'm indifferent about that.
You are torn between your party and your brother, blood and party. Thank you so much, Senator Kalu. I appreciate your time.
Which one confession if you are an honest man?
Well, because I'm not a politician, I may not be able to say. But when it comes to...
No, you must answer.
So, no. Because I don't answer questions, I ask them. On this program, the interest of the people comes first for me. Thank you so much,
What
Senator.
What is the interest of people? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's switch gears now and speak to a former Minister of Aviation and a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. In fact, one of their major strategists is Mr. Osita Chidoka, Special Advisor to Atiku Abubakar and the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Thanks so much indeed for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Final lap.
Final lap.
Does this look like what you predicted? Did you think that the race was going to look like this?
No. We, if you think from the time of the primaries to now, nobody saw the race going like this. This is a race like no other. But of course, I had always predicted about the rise of the new voter, the change in technology. INEC's movement to adopting technology has meant that the election will change. And election has changed from political machines to getting voters. So since 2015, if you notice, the incidence of vote buying has increased because the issues have moved to the voter. Before then, it was INEC, it was police, it was collation center, it was thugs at the night, carrying ballot boxes. Now the issue has changed to getting voters. So I think we've made progress. So I could have predicted that elections are going to get more sophisticated, more technology-driven. And then, of course, the level of literacy and young people coming up in Nigeria has also risen tremendously. And the internet has made the world a global village. So we're watching what's happening around the world. We're all watching CNN. We're watching Brazil. We're watching Malaysia. So we're all seeing what's going on around the world.
Politics is getting interesting across the globe. And it does look like younger people and a lot of things that people are agitating for different things in different climes. But it does look to me that the battle your candidate, Atiku Abubakar, faced the last time compared to this time are totally different. He's perhaps facing more internal troubles than he faced in 2019.
Yes, in 2019, there was an incumbent president. So there was a mobilization against a sitting government. It's always easy to mobilize against an incumbent. When an incumbent is not in the ballot, then there's a tendency for there to be, dissipation of energy in terms of a lot of people think that that's the best time to try to, get a shot. So most people will run when the incumbent is not running. So it's a different ball game in this election.
I mean, that's an odd. I mean, he wasn't facing as much internal troubles as he faced in 2019. This is much more than he could probably chew. For example, he couldn't campaign in River State. I mean, is that an odd too much?
No. This is a more serious issue. It's a far more deeper, serious issue. I had expected the president and INEC to have reacted to the issue where a governor can say to a party, we're withdrawing the permit we gave you to campaign. And where he's saying, you must campaign in one area and not the other. If Nigerians know our history, part of the problems that led to the 1966 coup was the fact that parties from the South couldn't campaign in the North. When Michael Okpara wanted to go to campaign in Katsina, as he left Kaduna, he was blocked by a sea of cattle on the road. They didn't allow him pass. So he went back to Kaduna that night, and the catering rest house in Kaduna said there was no vacancy. So he couldn't even get a place to sleep. This was the reason the framers of the 1979 Constitution and the 1999 Constitution made electoral matters a national issue. So there is a deep disturbing signal that a state government can take a decision that will impact a national election.
But are you saying it in the ramification that your party is also unable to resolve that?
So it's not even a party matter anymore.
Well, it was a party. It stemmed from a party issue.
It's not a party matter anymore. It is the fact that a governor is not a partisan person in that role as a governor. When you are acting as a governor, it's not a partisan position. You are acting as a guarantor and a trustee, a man sworn to uphold the Constitution of Nigeria. You have no right at that moment, acting as the governor of a state, to act in a partisan manner.
I mean, River State is not a state that your party wants to lose. Your party has won River State many times over.
Yes.
If you lose River State, does your candidate still stand a chance?
He does stand a chance, but I'm just saying that This is beyond the issue of losing the election. I'm calling the attention of the country that something egregious, something terrible has happened to our democracy.
Has it been officially transmitted to the authorities beyond you saying it tonight?
Yes, our party is going to take stands about that, and I'm sure they are communicating. Our party is communicating with INEC and the presidency, and I'm even shocked that both the Inspector General, both the Department of State Security did not see the security threat of a party trying to hold a rally in a location and they being shot at by supposedly policemen. This is serious matter. This is very grievous matter.
I
think the nation should take it serious.
Yeah. We'll come into some of the details of how this election will pan out. There is a recent poll that is in favor of your candidate, the one released by Polaf. There are several other ones that didn't give your candidate a chance. I'll get your reactions on that. And perhaps with these 5 states that is getting off the fingers of your party going into this election, what are your chances? We'll talk about that when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much indeed, everyone. Let's get back to the conversation with Mr. Osita Chidoka, a former Minister of Aviation. Thank you so much indeed for tonight. So I'm looking at the political map of 2019 and making comparison between what is going on now. The APC controls more states. Your party had probability of the 5 states that is in contention right now that PDP holds, but then looks like that there are issues with them. But the last time, you gave a very sweet description of how the victory pathway of Atiku Abubakar in this election.
Yes.
How do you think that can happen?
The pathway is still there. Still there.
How?
Okay, let me tell you something.
Okay, so I'm happy traditionally,
I'm happy you had Kalu on this show.
Traditionally,
yes.
The APC wins 70% of Southeast. Traditionally, the PDP wins. This has happened for over 4 elections or 5 election cycles.
Yes.
Traditionally, the PDP wins about 85-90% of the South-South.
Yes.
This time around, that doesn't look like a possibility.
And traditionally,
does it?
The PDP averages 20% in the Northwest and Northeast, at the times when we used to average 70-80 in the South. So PDP needed a new configuration to win power. We needed to go to the vote bank of the country and make ourselves come up to about 50%. So it's costing us votes in the Southeast and South-South. That's fine. But that pathway has not led us to winning an election. Buhari has won elections without winning in the Southeast and South-South, because you need a combination of states to win. That 24 is an obstacle. And that majority of votes is another obstacle to cross. So now, what is important about an election is the boots on ground. Our 109 senatorial candidates are strong candidates. They will be on the ballot on that Saturday. They are strong candidates. In 2019, I don't know if you know this. You know, President Buhari got 25% in Abia State. He got 25% in Abia State. And do you know where that 25% came from? It came from about just 4 local governments, the majority of them. I didn't know until this year that APC defeated PDP in Ben, the local government, Judiciary Kalu's local government. Did you know that? That PDP lost a local government
in Abia
State to APC, to President Buhari, a man that most people could swear that the Southeast will not vote for.
Yeah.
But because, do you know that APC won in Umunnochi and Isukwato? These are the constituencies of Nkiru Onyajocha, who was running for the House of Reps, and Kalu, who was running for Senate. So when you have strong candidates on ground, it's not easy to write off the party. So despite APC being in power in Bauchi State, Governor Bala Mohammed defeated the APC and became governor. With APC at the center, APC as governor, Bala Mohammed defeated them. Governor Fintiri defeated an incumbent APC governor, defeated with an APC president in office, and PDP came.
These are extraordinary cases.
They're not extraordinary.
No, but these are unusual.
No,
so the reason why I'm asking that question is this. And I mean, I thank God that you are you ran for governor,
Yes.
for the governorship race in your state. So
Yes.
you understand that there are the unusual circumstances where you find an incumbent being defeated in a state that has been traditionally controlled by a particular political party. What happened in Taraba, in Adamawa, and what happened in Bauchi,
Yes.
you will consider them as extraordinary situation when an incumbent was defeated. When an incumbent, what happened in 2015 was extraordinary.
No. In
because
an incumbent was just defeated.
So they are extraordinary situation.
No, they're not extraordinary.
They are unusual.
What is happening? No, what the lesson there is that there is a difference between just incumbency and factors to mobilization. People forgot that Bauchi was predominantly a PDP state, right from Governor Muazu's time. So activating that PDP structure, working with that PDP structure is critical to getting that result you saw. The same thing in Adamawa. So what I'm saying to you now is that despite the noise from the people who discuss politics, there are the reality that there will be political players on the field, House of Rep candidates, senatorial candidates, who are boots on the ground, who have canvassers on the ground, who have agents on the ground, who have people they are pulling out on the ground on that day. That is the power of the PDP. So we may not win as we used to win in some areas, but we're also getting new areas that are going to deliver us more votes. So it's a balancing act. We're trying to build that combination.
And I'm looking at, I was reading the newspapers today, and a few of the newspapers took the story of the Polaf poll,
Yes.
which gave Atiku Abubakar from the over 3,000 random sampled that they got over 165 local government areas, in 20 of the 36 states, and they said they called 418 pollsters. That poll says that Atiku might lose Southwest, that Tinubu might win Southwest. And then it's saying that Atiku might win South-South and also win North-Central and the Northeast and the Northwest. How realistic is that?
Very realistic projections. All the polls I've read, I don't know the Polaf, I don't know the poll, but all the polls I've read point to one thing. I don't think I have seen any poll that says Atiku will not win the Northeast and the Northwest. So I don't think that's in contention.
But the margin between that they gave here in the Northeast is a very close one within the APC and the PDP. And I guess because the APC candidate, vice presidential candidate, is from the Northeast.
Yeah,
so there is a realization that there will be a tough battle. In the Northeast will be a battleground.
So if you look at the Northeast of the 6 states, so the battleground will probably be Borno and Yobe. For most of Adamawa, Bauchi, Taraba, Gombe, PDP will do very well in those states. Now, if you come to the Northwest, PDP will do well in Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara. They will do well in Katsina. Will do very well in
Why do you
Jigawa.
think you will do well in Katsina? Yes. Don't you think that Muhammadu Buhari, who is the sitting president and a leader of the APC, will want to win Katsina for himself?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think he can, because you see, he has delivered, insecurity to the people of Katsina. They're not as happy as they used to be in Katsina. So they are looking at themselves and they're thinking, what have we got for this? What have you done for us lately? So there is also a pushback in that against the party, not even the candidate this time, against the party in the Northwest. The North Central is going to be a little tighter from what I see now. There will be a share in the Northwest. Atiku will get some, Tinubu will get some, the Labour Party will get some, Peter Obi will get some. So the Northwest will be, the North Central will be split, in my view.
In fact, there is the projection based on these polls says that both Tinubu and Atiku will almost neck and neck, but by a little margin will Atiku win in the North Central. But there is an acceptance from this poll that Southwest will be a neck and neck between Atiku and Peter Obi. Why?
Southeast.
In the Southwest.
Southwest.
But that they're giving it to Bola Tinubu.
Yes. I think so. I think Bola Tinubu will win the Southwest predominantly. I think so. But I think that in most places outside of Lagos, PDP will be second in the Southwest. In Osun, if we don't win Osun, we will come second. In Oyo, we will come second if we don't win. And in Ondo and Ekiti. In Lagos, it's going to be a different ball game. There's Labour Party will play strongly in Lagos, same with APC, but PDP will get some good votes.
Would you consider that this election will perhaps be maybe the toughest contest ever in our political history? No, say in the Fourth Republic.
So far, so yes, it will be a tough contest. Because anytime there is a binary choice, things are easier. And this is the first time since this democracy started that we have the 3 major ethnic groups in an election. So, and people from 4 zones in an election. So we have Kwankwanso from the northwest, we have Atiku from the northeast, we have Tinubu from the southwest, we have Peter Obi from the southeast. The 4 major zones in the country are in the race.
Only another major zone, the north central, is not represented.
And the south-south. Yes, the south-south is not in the race.
Okay, we have a few. So, we have a few north central candidates around there.
I mean,
but the front runners,
the four horse race.
Your party never gave Peter Obi a chance. But
I don't think that was a party position.
No, I've spoken to a lot of the leaders of your party.
Yes,
they never gave Peter Obi a chance. But those who believe that, in fact, is the joker in this election, that he might spring a surprise and win it.
In fact, unless, the older people may not have given him a chance, knowing the difficulties in bringing out voters, knowing what happens on election day, those who have contested elections, I'm sure even Peter Obi himself will know, will have thought that. But a lot has changed in Nigeria. A lot has changed with possibility of the capacity to mobilize online. A lot has changed with the capacity to excite and capture the imagination of voters across large areas without actual physical structure. So that has given him some mileage. And I knew that was going to happen because in 2017, I tried that in terms of using a digital format. And what happened was that I excited a lot of people in Anambra, but the ground operation, that thing that holds the parties together, the people that will come out on election day, the people that will do the work, was a missing part in my campaign in that time. So I hope that, and I think it takes time to build because even Buhari had the same experience.
All right. Let's go for another quick break and we'll be back. And for those, if we go by the poll that has been in favor of Peter Obi, I'd like to ask you what that could mean for our democracy. Let's get back from this break and we'll get into that conversation. A closing moment now with Mr. Osita Chidoka. Thank you so much for staying with us. So I was asking you, this election, a lot of people see that it's going to spring a lot of surprises.
Yes.
And if most of the polls that have come out favor Mr. Peter Obi, for example, what would that do to your own permutations?
I think there's something far more fundamental going on. It's the message Nigerians are sending to the political parties is that it is not business as usual. And that message is important because the 2 political parties are now being run like electoral vehicles, like Molue buses. So they are not being run caring about their base. They don't think about who are the person who normally will vote PDP. That person is probably Southern, he's probably middle class, he's probably educated. So you need to figure out who your voters are and you need to pander to them to keep them. So what the message is telling us, using the people who are able to talk on the phone, the momentum of the labor movement, is that Nigerians are saying enough of these 2 political parties taking us for granted. So I believe post-2019 election, the first thing that 2023 election is a rebirth of the political parties. A rebirth of the political parties to go back to the issues that are important to those who vote for them.
Has your candidate been able to do that?
Yes.
Do you resonate with the people?
So our candidate is a candidate that has all it takes to deliver the key ingredients of the Nigerian state. Now, let me explain that. Where Nigeria is today now, everybody knows that Atiku Abubakar is a safe choice because they know that if you want to engage with the issues of insecurity, with the herdsmen farmers crisis, if you want to engage with insurrection and banditry going on in the Northwest, if you want to tame the public bureaucracy that are spiraling out of control, if you want to control Nigeria's debt as it is today and stem the borrowing going on, if you want to get the state governments to align again with the federal government in pursuit of national goals, if you want to get the National Assembly not just to be a rubber stamp, but to be an active partner in making Nigeria work, everybody knows that Atiku Abubakar is prepared for that job. So if you ask most Nigerians, even when they say they are angry with PDP and will vote another candidate, if you say, what's their second choice? They will tell you it's Atiku Abubakar. So the idea behind it is that this is a safe choice. Nigeria is in a crossroad. Atiku Abubakar is prepared from day one to tackle these challenges. He's not going to be thinking how to form a government. He's not going to, he knows the issues. And very importantly, he is a player in the Nigerian economy. He knows what it means to have 800 Naira diesel to run a university.
So what would an Atiku victory mean immediately for Nigeria?
It will calm the tension in the country. It will reassure all our bondholders, debt holders across the world. It will reassure the international community that sensible economic plan will come to place, that evidence-based governance will come to play, that a man who would like to own and run an American university, a man who responds to his emails, a man who responds to people on his WhatsApp messages, a man who has lived across the world, a man who understands the language of the universe is now in power in Nigeria. I think it will mean something fundamental to everybody, that a man who understands the imperative of modern education. He's a northerner with very modern instincts, and they know that what will happen to Nigeria immediately is that I believe that our bond holders, our debtors will easily come to table. They know there's going to be sensible economic policies.
For those who had done the permutation that should Atiku Abubakar lose this time around,
yes,
that goes the end of PDP.
That is not correct. That is not correct. The death of PDP has been over-exaggerated. And I will assure you that the PDP was formed as the umbrella party to take power from the military and bring democracy to Nigeria. That we achieved from 1999 to 2015. We deepened democracy in Nigeria. We made it possible for the card reader to come into effect that made us lose the election. We made it possible for Nigeria to be a debt-free nation. We made it possible for Nigeria to know what it means for the two arms of government to work. When there were issues against the nation, PDP legislators worked against the PDP president. When there were contradictions in the country, PDP governors stood up against the PDP president. We've had our internal contradictions, we've had our disagreements, but we remain the party that does not have that leader that will determine our fate.
We are doing to close now. Just this in 20 seconds. Should Atiku Abubakar win, do you think he's a man who will concede like Jonathan?
Should he win?
Should he lose?
Should he lose? Oh yes, if he loses in a free and fair election, Atiku Abubakar is a Democrat. He has lost elections. He is one of the reasons why I think Nigerians should give him a chance is that he is a man coming to power chastened by his past, humbled by his experiences, who has been
criticized by his opponents of wanting to do away with most of the assets of the country to perhaps some of his friends.
That is that is a false narrative. The narrative is that government in Nigeria today needs to do that restructuring that we're all talking about. Government doing business is part of the bondage holding Nigeria together. What he's simply saying is that we are going to decentralize it.
All right.
We are going to allow the states and the local governments to run Nigeria from bottom up and not from top down.
Osita Chidoka, a chieftain of the PDP, an advisor to Atiku Abubakar and the PDP PCC, a former aviation minister. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
I guess before, maybe that will be after the election, we'll be able to get together and look through some of your notes. Thank you so much. I
look forward to that.
That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure Kimalo. Don't look at and don't listen to all the social media false information about whatever I've been content to say. I don't endorse anything. Bye for now, everyone.